Unfortunately, we cannot. Do have a solution for that that might not be as glamorous as being able to raise our health score, but as an addendum to this report, I typically go into our patch management reporting, and that's where I look at addressing this in the real world. Now, I have not dealt with many end users in the real world, but I have dealt with a good amount. Okay, I ran my own little single man shop. Okay, I did not have one of my end users complain about that health score after the QBR. The first QBR we had when they got the report, especially if it's something like the situation you were in where we have a 10-day delay, right? They were like, why is this so low? This is very concerning. My last MSP, right? Blah, blah. Well, going into some additional reporting, going into some additional featuring, you can always alleviate those concerns. So let's hold our horses and we'll take a look at the patch report next. All right. The next big thing I do like about this executive summary is specifically alerts resolved. In the break, fix, and a la carte worlds, we're not quite concerned about this number. But once we start to get into the proactive programs and fully managed programs, this number becomes a big deal for us. Because again, we're selling productivity and peace of mind. My end users shouldn't know I'm there, right? So if I come with an executive summary report with 30 items on it, it looks reasonable. Now, let's understand. I had 30 alerts for 5 VMs sitting in the cloud doing almost nothing. There's a couple things I force failures for. There's a couple things that I forced tickets to be open for, right? You can see my script checks are running a little bit low. Okay. But imagine what this looks like in the real world with end users, right? Coming in and being able to say across 150 devices, I've solved 500, 600 problems before you even knew they were actual problems is a huge value build. And then, of course, we get our niceties, our protection effectiveness, right? Here's where we can, Craig, look at addressing some of our patching, okay, if necessary. We get our coverage, what's installed where, what OSs are on our devices, but most importantly with this, we get ourselves a nice little glossary. I don't know your guys' experience inside the real world, and again, I haven't dealt with many clients, but I've dealt with a good amount. I rarely talked to an MSP that could truly tell you the difference between, say, a hard drive and a solid state hard drive, right? Much less what we are managing on their network. And having a glossary here allows them to have a quick and easily referenceable section to where they can now start to know what they're looking at. Anything we can do to make our end users feel smarter, in my mind, is a good thing. The more they understand what we do, the better. All right, hopping quite quickly into some patch reports. First off, managed patch for Mac. Oh, and it looks like I haven't run any patches through my managed patch for Mac yet. Sorry, those are quite new. First off, this will allow us to address the Mac items as an addendum that we can pull. It's a CSV, not the prettiest looking item, but it is one that can generate well for us. And then we can look at attacking our patch report. So coming in, we can look at pending installing. Let's leave installed patches out. We'll leave out reboot required and uninstalling. And let's look at our patches that are currently missing or installing and items that have failed. What do we need to address? and ignored. Why did we ignore these patches? So we can start looking at truly addressing what we're seeing with this patch score, right? Because let's also be honest, while Craig has the great best practice of delaying patches 10 days until after Patch Tuesday, because thank you, Microsoft, right? There are going to be some other items in here that we're going to need to see. I've ignored Silverlight patches because when are we ever going to need a Silverlight patch, right? I've been looking at ignoring this particular Chrome patch because we don't quite need it right now. Okay. So some nice reporting that we can get quickly and easily at our fingertips that can start to address that health score. Okay. So some items that give us some nice insight and some nice functionality inside our reporting. So 2 reports we look at for our MBRs, and the last report that we'll look at are going to be our server reports. Coming in, taking a look at our server reports here. Now, these reports come out to be pretty expansive, okay? Again, the machines that I'm functioning with sit in the cloud. They do very little, all right? And I'm still pulling 8 pages, okay? If you look at our example reports here, so let's come to client report, monthly server. We'll just run a quick example. Our example is pulling up at 46 pages. Okay. And what this does is it's going to go through a general overview of our devices. So let's come and let's actually pull this one here, the real one, and we'll zoom in. So we've got our introduction, right? Gives us an overview. What are we looking at uptime wise? What are we looking at for some of our basics that are easily understandable, right? What are we coming at for our backup items? Okay. And what's our server look like? Okay. Document shows server monitoring ports for company 1 prepared by you, the MSP, right? We got 99% uptime, right? Which is quite nice. Okay. We come in and we see our checks for managed online backup. We come in for our uptime. We see 100%, which is pretty darn nice. Okay. We go through our checks, what's passed, what's failed. Okay. We go through performance monitoring just to let you know, right? Any type of NetPath items will be included in here as well. I, as an example, just went to Reddit. Probably need to look at adjusting this because let's be honest, Reddit has actually gotten better with their servers recently, and they are not failing nearly as much as they used to. But suffice to say that that server report is going to give us a lot of information to put in front of our clients' faces. Okay. The server report is a little bit more technical in my mind than the executive summary that we have been focusing on. There isn't going to be a glossary here. So when we're going through this report lends itself quite nicely to being a QBR. Okay. Coming through and operating under the assumption that our servers are our mission critical item. If I am taking care of the mission critical items quite nicely, okay, and you haven't seen any disruption on your workstations, we're doing well as an MSP. So those are the 3 reports I would start QBRs with.